I have the beautiful Hershey, the shadow reader, on with me again, and we're doing a face-to-face thing. And today's topic is the spirit box, because she has one of those things. And I remember the first time I heard it when I was like, and I was thinking, is that like a washing machine that's like making some kind of a noise? But it sounded like a washing machine, and the noise of a washing machine. And I know that that's what, but that's the noise it made. Now, and I was thinking about these spirit boxes and wondering if they, what is it? If they really work, or is it? Do they work? I mean, and so you can tell me about how they work, because spirits are just like, well, they're frequencies. And the theory behind the spirit box is that they can communicate through, like, is that like radio waves, or is it through some kind of electronic means or something like that? And well,
Um, Through the white noise, when you scan the frequencies of the channels, they can speak in between the waves in the white noise.
oh, okay. So they speak, and then so you can literally hear the voice.
Yes,
Wow.
yes.
I mean, I had an experience when I was editing a video on Tools of Fortune, and it was when I was doing when I was doing this deck.
Oh,
This,
okay, okay.
and I was doing, and so while around the time that I was doing this deck, um, my niece's boyfriend slash fiance died in a car accident,
Mm.
and I heard, while I was editing that video, I heard another voice superimposed right on top of mine.
Nice.
Just
Okay.
like a phrase, and I kept the video, so I want to make sure that I don't lose that, because I might go back to it later. But in the video, anyways, it was there. I didn't notice, I didn't hear it when it was at the time, and so I had this experience of, because I sometimes have this experience when people pass over during that week between the time that they pass and the time of their funeral. They seem to like to visit me, and so that night I was doing that video. It was like, I don't know, it was late at night, and I could feel that there was a spirit around. I wasn't quite sure who it was, and I was like saying, "Can you please go away, because I can't concentrate on doing this? Would you just go away?" And I want to do this. You can come back. Please come back tomorrow in the afternoon when I'm mowing the lawn. Please do that. Of course, it didn't. He didn't come back, and then he did come back on the day of his funeral, and it came back, and um, and he says, it was pretty much said, "Please tell her I'm sorry,"
Mhm.
because please tell her I'm sorry, and because he killed two people when he died in an automobile, and uh uh and he was a anyways, he killed two people in that accident, and somehow ending up going the wrong way down a freeway, and uh then he was so badly burned that they had to go to the dental records to figure out who it was, and so, but anyways, not that that's neither here nor there, but that was the thing, and so that was the situation. I knew that he and but that was so that voice came in. That was the first time that I've other experiences I've had with people who had just passed, and um, it was something like that. There was another person. It was just the same thing. It was something similar. It was like, please tell this person I'm sorry. And so I don't know, but that was my that's not exactly a spirit box experience, but that was sort of an experience with
I mean, it's a
spirit.
real life experience. It's more validation than a spirit box. I mean, people excuse sensations and encounters um because they can't make logical sense of it. You know, they don't know how to let that part of their mind accept exactly what happened for what it is. And having a real life encounter or uh experience with anyone on the other side, yeah, I hope you never forget it. I hope you know that it was genuine, it was authentic. The universe made sure you and only you had that experience. And that
Mhm.
is something wonderful. That is a blessing. Whether you know it, understand it, or even ever want it to happen again in your life. It is truly a blessing to be able to have it in real life and not just hearing it third party or through a messenger device like me or a tool of some kind. So I think that's kind of wonderful in my opinion, but that's just
Yeah.
my opinion.
Well, it's not really the first time I've had that kind of thing, because I guess I run I run kind of wide open all the time. Um, so I guess someone asked me, do you do some kind of like a protection thing, before you start? And well, closest thing I ever do to that is I'll pull out one of my little mini icons, and I'll say a little prayer, but like that. But then I think I'm just running really wide open all the time, um
It's a
and
good
so
place to
sometimes,
be.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
actually it's a good place to be. You know, people they want the light on. They want the open door policy, you know. They want it. They just don't know how to stay in it once it happens,
yeah,
you know. They
yeah.
some most get scared, honestly. They do. And they're not sure, you know. They deny it even that it happened. So the fact that you have your open door policy, that's inviting to them. You know, they show
Mhm,
up for celebrations. A funeral doesn't seem like it would be a celebration, but it's a second chance for them to be remembered and celebrated. So it's like having another birthday, you know. They 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 love interacting with us. But I know it doesn't seem right or fair, and there's people that's gonna say it ain't true. But when you smell something you shouldn't be smelling, if you hear something you shouldn't have heard, if you felt a sensation that you know there's no explanation of why it happened. That's them.
yeah,
They're always around us. Many versions of even us are around us right now that are walking right beside us. And I appreciate, and they appreciate when someone is open and willing to uh, exchange energy and just interact again.
mhm. I mean, granted, there are times when I am I don't want them around. Like I said, there was like I was doing something. Don't want it. I don't want around. I don't want the spookiest things. It's late at night, and sometimes, yeah, I get scared too. I'll admit that I get scared when they come around, and
I
or
do too. Don't get it twisted.
you know, or you hear, yeah, it's like, yeah, that was that, and Mama Sushi, welcome. Yeah,
There's
open
a whole
door
bunch of
policies
them.
can be scary. Yeah, but so yeah, like I think I've talked before about when after my grandmother passed,
Mhm.
and um and she I was like sitting in my chair, or it was actually at that time it was my dad's chair, and I saw an orb, a light, an orb appeared, and it moved from the matches, and it moved to where her purse was sitting on a chair, where was still a pack of cigarettes hanging out, and it was like it was going back and forth between, because she smoked Virginia Slims, the 120s, and the big the Virginia 120s, and she died of smoking related issues as well, and of and but so she her this light, it went back and forth between the matchbox
Mhm.
and her
I
purse.
love that.
Yeah, and so it was just like this is my grandma. My grandma's coming back to say hello. It wasn't a scary thing, but it was just like, oh, grandma's coming back to say hello, and she
I
come back to
love
say,
that. I
yeah,
love that. Love that.
yeah,
So, just just because we have not even taken a second, let's say hi to everybody that is here. Angie, hello, Mama Sushi, Chloe. Let me see. I saw Janet come in. Oh
Janet
my
did
gosh.
come in.
Hi guys. Hello. Thank you guys for being here.
Yeah, thank
Um,
you.
wow, yeah, the open doors is it can be overwhelming. It can be exhausting. Um, and it needs to be a little bit intimidating because some people ain't ready. Some you can't let a kid touch a hot stove. You know what I mean? So you have to sometimes slowly teach. So maybe because you're open, maybe there is an opportunity for you to
Thank you, Angie.
learn more about what it's like for them, because then it's easier to understand them once you find your way to communicate with them. And not everybody's is going to be the same. Um,
Yeah.
some it's real easy. Some people it's not so easy. So some people only talk to their uh people on the other side in dreams, and they'll wake up and they'll be like, so and so was in my dream. And well, yeah, they that was their way. That was your way. That was your easy way to communicate and interact and remember and celebrate and maybe laugh again or just even say their name. Sometimes just literally saying their name again, it
Hmm.
just helps keep them in the memory. So memory and interacting is a big thing for them from what I'm learnt through my interactions with them.
Okay. Then what kind of experiences then? What was like the most powerful experience that you have had prior to, like your aneurysms and things like that? That was like, or was it all after that?
No, no, I've been interacting and communicating with them pretty much my whole life. When I was a kid, uh I used to see things, and at first, my family thought it was cute, and they played along. And then when I started getting up there in age, they started, like turning against me and like, stop seeing imaginary people, and started literally being the opposite of supportive. And they didn't go away. They weren't imaginary people. Somewhere between 7 and maybe 8, 9 years old, I started realizing that some of them, like when they touched me, I could not necessarily feel them, but it felt like I needed to help them get somewhere. I don't know where get somewhere actually means, and I still honestly don't know. I just know that some of them, when they find me or I run into them at the grocery store, um, if they're ready, I can help them get to what I call is a place of peace. I assume I'm trying to somehow help them get to another part of their walk, another version of them somewhere. So I don't actually know what's all the way on the other side. but I do know this is something that um, I do understand differently than a lot of people. Like I said, it was one way before my aneurysms with my interactions with them, and it was the occasional one, but there was one that always I'll never forget. And he was, I don't know, he was so friendly. He felt like grandfather kind of energy. He kind of even had that grandfather look. But he had this I don't know what you would call it, but like he had this fur kind of hat and it had a tail where the actual tail would be. You could tell he was like very much of a different period. He lived a different way.
Like
He kind of
like
had a scent like smoke on him, like caveman kind of smoky fire, like like a fire pit or something, that controlled fire, that woody kind of bonfire pit fire kind of smell. And every time he would come in, he would say, I saved another one. And I never quite understood what it meant. And then recently, maybe 7 or 8 years ago, we crossed paths again. And because I understand it a little differently now, I understood now what he meant. Every time he showed up, he was kind of helping, like, I think he worked with Hakate, because he would help a lost soul or a soul that needed to be rescued, and somehow he would lead that person either not necessarily to me, but to a place where they would be safe. Because sometimes maybe it wasn't time for them to face their judgment, or maybe um,
Mhm.
it wasn't time for them to make that next step, or whatever time they needed in limbo or whatever you want to call it. They would keep them safe from anything on the other side that wouldn't maybe want you to make it to your next level, your next phase, or whatever. So there's bad guys almost in every level
Mhm.
of this thing called life, and every aspect and every
Mhm.
version of it. So, just because you're not physically in your meat suit, don't mean there's not still things that wouldn't want you to flourish and succeed. I mean, right
Oh
here
yeah, 'cause I
as it is. So it's just different on the other side because the energy is different. There's no human involved, so it's more maleficent, and more deviant on the other side, actually, than it is on this side. If you can believe that or not.
hello, Mr. Mission Control. And then Angie said something that she's always wondered why this old shadow man who's not mean, that couldn't figure out the reason why we're using for his attachment to you. Well, maybe it was like a grandfather type. You said that a grandfather type figure,
Yeah, I
or
mean, they come in for, as they like to say it, for a reason, for a season, for a lesson, and for a blessing.
Mhm.
So those that walk with you on your spirit team, they have to find a way to get your attention. So if they can't get your attention, they can't work with you, right? So
Mhm.
um I don't know if this is actual like grandfather energy, but it does feel like this could be maybe Hierophant energy for you. So Hierophant energy would absolutely be someone that wanted to help you with something. So this could be a lesson, or they could be trying to teach you something to learn how to read with energy. So make sure you pay attention when or if they come back around, because it does feel like with them so strongly trying to get your attention, there's a reason for it. So
Mhm. Huh.
well, maybe it's just about paying closer attention to your senses, but definitely feels like for them to get that strongly at your attention, they're wanting you to understand something. They're intentionally trying to get your attention. Usually drive-bys are like, what was that? And then it's gone as quick as it comes. But when it lingers for a minute, they're spending a lot of energy to get your attention for something.
Yeah, well, like when I've noticed this, that when a person just recently passes, and they're people that are connected to me or my family,
Mm,
and generally it's when you'll hear doors slam, or like a cover door slam. I think, well, how did that happen? And there's no wind in here. And then so like when the neighbor who was like went to was a childhood friend. Well, when I don't want to say a childhood friend, it was somebody who when my mother was young, they had he had bullied her, but like teenagers kind of do, boy girl teenagers kind of, and then mom. But I was thinking about it, and then on the way back from his memorial service, and then that voice was just persistent in my head: is please tell her I'm sorry. Please tell her I'm. And but then a few days before, I was like right here in this space. I was getting ready to go do something, and there was like a little piece of paper, and it got moved. It flicked it. It was like it flicked it. It's
Mm-hmm.
like it flicked it, and I was like, oh, and so because all this time I kind of figured who it was because this stuff happened like right around the time that he passed away. It actually started like 3 hours before he passed away.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. The
Like
transition starts before we completely are humanly dead. That the the time and
Mhm.
date stamped on the bottom of your foot. Your transition starts before then. That's why when people say like it was like they knew it, they just knew. I was right there. I watched, I was right there. I myself think that death is beautiful. It is a cycle of life. And if you surround it with love and you support it with beautiful things and a reason to be celebrated, then it gets a little lighter when you have to step into that energy of life. But like being surrounded and watching my grandparents, although years apart from each other, they were surrounded by love. You saw them because they knew they were surrounded in this love circle, this unconditional circle that nothing
Mhm.
bad could get to them. They enjoyed the approach of their transition. They smiled a lot. They didn't feel pain anymore. There is so many ways to start understanding the transition, and then going through it with them makes it easier for them to understand when they wake up on the other side, they still have that strong circle that is protecting them. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. So we had, I guess Angie wants a personal reading about this. I don't think that this is the intent of this particular program for
I,
doing that. But if
I
you're,
I would
if
say
you're,
email me, sweetie. My
okay, yeah,
email is on my channel. Feel free. I do free readings for subscribers, so you have to be subscribed to my channel. And so by
yeah.
donation or whatever, it's your choice. But just email me. Tonight I'm just kind of hanging out and we're just talking about the ghost and the energies and different tools. So feel free to email me if you would like to schedule something.
Okay, so she was going off an earlier live stream, so she would, so for instance on this channel, I have two channels.
Mhm.
I have this channel, and then I have Tools of Fortune, and Tools of Fortune is all about doing divination and cards, and eventually it'll be able to. Right now, it's like I'm at the minimum threshold to go live, but YouTube says I'm not there yet, so I have some things to figure out. And anyways, it it may have been those five subs from one person that kind of flagged things. I don't know. I shouldn't have.
It's
But
okay.
anyway,
It's
anyway,
gonna get
what was that?
it's gonna get there. It's gonna get there.
Well, I know it's gonna get there. I know it's gonna get there. I had a Ethernet line installed into this space yesterday. My childhood friend came, and now of course it doesn't look very sightly on the wall. I thought I would be okay with it but anyways, but the Ethernet line, and then because then what it means is now I have to do this next project, which is declutter this space to make room for a desktop computer because I sent one of these computer in 2020, just after, you got all that COVID money, because I was like the first time that I got bailed out. I felt like I was getting a bailout from the government, and so I was getting, with unemployment and that, I was getting like $1,100 a week, and that went on for a while, for like a few months, and then so during that time I bought two computers, and then I put one of them in storage, and that one I sent with my, but it's, it's like it's out of date now, and I sent with my friend, and he's going to rebuild it a little bit and put a Linux operating system on it, because I'm sick and tired of paying for software, and and so, because it's like, what is it? It's like $16 a month that I don't have because I don't have an income, and 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 so it's like money that I don't have, and I'm spending money I don't have, and I don't like to do that. And nevertheless, that's just off a different subject. But nevertheless, it's that. So anyway, I don't know why I talked about that. My own problems. This isn't Bill's unloading hour. It's we're
We're human. It happens, man. And we find when we're comfortable, we let it out, and then we don't carry that weight. So if you're comfortable enough to say it, hey, I that's what I like hanging out with you so much for, because there's no pressure. It's like you don't have to
Mhm.
worry about filling an hour in conversation because there's so many levels and layers to us. Just the fact that we're pretty transparent to begin with.
Mhm.
We would rather be positive and talk about some shit we learned from who and helped mold and become the person we are. The old us isn't who we are today, right? It's that lesson that brought us to want to talk about a spirit box, me want to sit and just want to interact with the ghosts, learn more about them. I'm still learning crap all the time. Like some days I interact with them and it's just real easy and the flow and the rhythm is right. And then some days it's like, why does it sound like they're speaking in ebonics to me? so,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
trust me, there's no, I don't think there is a right or wrong. I don't know if there. The only thing I know for sure is there's no off switch. Now I do know there's a mute button, but there's no off switch. So um, it's a learn, and it's something you become passionate about, and you either want to protect it and preserve it, and hope that people can see the respect and love and gratitude that you give to that part of the
Mhm.
journey, or you just wish them the best you can, and you hope they don't call you too many weirdos and freaks as they're walking away the other way because they're not serving a cause to help them, you, or the next person find closure, or maybe even find someone that's missing, or just be available to be present. So I think
Yeah.
I'm very comfortable on your channel. So feel free to talk about anything you want to talk about.
Yeah, I guess that's what we're doing. It was spirit boxes and whatnot. Maybe that was just the lure to. Maybe there isn't too much to say about spirit boxes, but we just talk about this other stuff. And
I think
yeah.
when it comes to spirit boxes, it's more like I don't know if there's an expert on anything. Yeah, you can practice and use these tools and REM pods, and I have cat balls. I don't have any on right now. The batteries are dead, and I need to buy more batteries, and they're not easy to get. Anyway, that's another story. But um we spirit boxes are more about just really just diving into them, like I have mine, it's sitting right here. This is a different kind than what I've used in the past, but I must say thoroughly enjoy it. I also enjoy the most part is that it looks like an old fashioned AM
Great.
FM radio, and it kind
Yeah.
of is. It's got the antenna and everything on it,
Well,
but it's meant for scanning, so it is a door in the tool mind frame of what it is. So, if I'm not gonna use it as a tool, then I usually just don't use it as a radio at all because I don't want to blur the lines. I want to keep it as as a tool. Um, there's a difference between spirit boxes and digital spirit boxes. I mean, I guess it's not even really my opinion. I mean, it's just proven. The digital ones are usually pre-programmed with words. Now, granted, you never know which one's going to come, and sometimes they are on point. I do use necrophonic occasionally when I'm out doing a ghost hunt, or if I am hunting a bad guy, I will have more than one device going. Matter of fact, I will have um, necrophonics going. I will have my another app that I use going. It's kind of like a lens that's built into an app that I use. It's like a Connect lens. And then I will also have my actual spirit box going. And because it's analog, this is the one that I'm holding in my hand because this is the one where my open heart call out channel is sending out the message that I need to speak to one specific person, and I'm hoping I can get them to come through on this box while the rest of the equipment is catching all the other ones and giving them something to be entertained with, so that I can focus on the individual that I'm looking for or the bad guy and I'm ultimately trying to point to.
so what did you called the word? It was necrophonics?
Yeah, it's a digital app that you can get from the Play Store. It's one that you have to pay for. It's not a monthly thing. Or well, it was when I got it years ago. I think it's like 10 or 15 bucks. And it's just a bunch of white noise running in the background, and you can adjust the frequency of it. They can be loud if you have the volume all the way up, but you can adjust all of that too. The Connect app that I use, I don't remember the name of it, but
Well, I was
remind me to look over the weekend what it is.
I was thinking about putting it in when I putting it in the title of this because it's a word that maybe I can hashtag it or something like that. And
Right, necrophonics. Yeah, there's a lot of there's a lot of YouTubers that investigate, and they use it, and like I learned about it years ago on Oh My God, Omar Gosh channel. I watched him for probably, I don't know, maybe close to 10 years. Um Anyway, a buddy of his, like, that I just kind of watched grow with the channel as he grew from nothing to the channel that he is now. And he uses all kinds of different equipment, and eventually I'll be able to get my equipment built up. But right now, um I just kind of live vicariously through them. But his buddy created necrophotics. His buddy's name is Chills, so almost all of the Chills app that are on the Play Store, like, I mean, I don't personally know the guy, but after all the years of all the testing and getting the bugs out and understanding like the pre-programming part that actually would apply, not all the craziness that comes with some of the other apps. Um, there was a lot of science and there was a lot of experience because he himself is a paranormal investigator. So there was a lot of life experience that went into the app. So I do support necrophonic, and I use it often. So, but I do prefer myself analog because I want genuine, no blurred lines. I don't want to know too much about the case, the crime, the person, the missing individual, maybe just their name. Other than that, I really want to be cold on it because I want to know that everything that I'm getting it authentic. I wasn't swayed by news outlets, media, social media, any of that. I strictly went on my team and my gifts and my tools. Mosaic. Okay.
I see here. Okay, somebody. Okay, one was asking about if there's a difference between the a radio and a spirit box, or is that? I think is that the question.
So
Okay.
your basic radio, if it can't sweep the AM channels, it's probably not going to be able to open the doors, right? The sweeps open the doors, right? And anytime you open a door, an unseen door gets open. So it's not ever just one door. It's always two, maybe more, depending on the tool that you're working with. The more powerful the analog spirit box, more doors you can open, farther reach you can grab.
Hmm.
Um, and the more you can allow to come in as long as you're strong with your connection and you're also actually practicing in your line in your lane. If you're not supposed to be messing with stuff like this, or I call myself a ouija because I work with the dead. I interact with the spirit world every day. I had a little boy giggling. Was it today? Yesterday? Last night? No, today. No, shit. I don't know. Days are running together. All I
Yeah.
could hear was giggling, and I don't know what I was doing. I was doing something because it's just been busy. I was doing the computer work, or I was doing something, and next thing I know, there's just giggling everywhere, and I'm like giggling. I hear giggling. Where's the
Mhm.
giggling coming from? So my team's like giggling. Oh yeah, I hear it. Where's it coming from? And I'm like, I don't know. Slim, find the giggler. We finally find the giggler, and he's like, he's in the closet, and I'm like, what closet? You know, like, could you have made it any easier? So, so there's there's a bit of energy
Mhm.
bending exchange for all of them. So if you are not supposed to be anything more than just the occasional I saw that, I know this, I feel this, I want this, versus somebody that can
Mhm.
actually tell you the person, something about them that only someone that loved them, knew them would know. That's why I choose to be cold. So yeah, yeah,
I
I believe the
recommend
more stronger the spirit box, the better the reach for those that are supposed to be handling the kind of tool that
it.
it is.
Yeah, I wanted to stop here for a second, and where Chloe says, "I know she's the real deal. I live Hershey." And then she meant, "I love Hershey." But I was like thinking that reminded me of a poem or a poet, a slam poet that I used to. I found his stuff before I actually met him in person. I found his stuff like a an MP3 album of the stuff. This like in like 2009 or something like that. And but there was like this angsty poem, and that he was going back into his childhood, and he was talking about his girl, and then the handwriting was so bad, and we decided that this was better, that I live and it's rather than I love you, but I live you. And then with the way he said it, and I gotta go back and find it.
Passion, passion. I understand what you're saying. Yes.
But then when you go back and you try to remember what was that like when you were hopped up on emotion or hopped up on hormones, and you were 16, 15, 16 years of age, and all of those things in your body are turning on, and you're trying to figure yourself out, and then you just love so strongly, or you think you do, and then you get that sense of I live you. And that's what, Chloe, that's what you, when you said that, that's where my mind went. And I was just thinking of that, of just how the poetry of that and how powerful that experience was. And you brought me right back to when
Okay.
I was that age, and as well. But anyways, and so you have that stuff, and I'm sorry for the segue away from this, but that was where it went. And I had some other questions too.
Life
Um,
is the blueprint. The ones we create and put ourselves in boxes are the ones that only make it complicated. So I don't think
yeah,
there's no way is wrong. Um, the interaction from the community, the chat, the gems is what stimulates and keeps the conversation not just going, but it keeps that river flowing, even if you're headed right for a damn waterfall, at least you've got people in the canoe going with you. So
yeah, yeah, like
there's a heartbeat, a rhythm, and that's the best part of it is the
mhm,
interaction. So
yeah.
I love
So, oh, about living several times. I have had a sense of reincarnation since I was a kid, but in my place where I'm at now, I actually, in my life, I don't necessarily think it matters one way or the other. I don't need to know. I don't want to know. That's where I'm at. I don't want to know. But I know that it's true. But then again, my mind goes into some of these other places, and I think about because I'm such a big sci-fi nerd,
it.
and so I go in because this was like some kind of it was a real strong sense of knowing that I had a couple years ago, and blessings, Fatima, and it was like um, maybe the thought of what if maybe more like the Matrix is more real,
Hmm.
universe as a construct,
Hmm.
and that in a sense that in one sense it's a construct, and this life here is a playground for the gods, in a sense that the gods is this higher civilization that achieved the ability to create whole universes and manipulate matter and everything, and to create whole universes, and then in order to take a vacation, well, we'll just it's time, my job sucks really bad, and so I need to go on vacation. So boom, it's Hershey, or it's Chloe, it's Fatima, it's all these different people. They come in here, and so there was a Star Trek episode that was basically kind of like this in the original Star Trek, but it was different. It was called Shore Leave, and they go down on this planet, and they just they oh, this sounds like a good place to go to shore leave, and they didn't know nothing about it. It's just nice thing, nice park like thing, some lakes and some things, and so few of them, they go beam down there, and then as soon as they start thinking and relaxing. And next thing you know, Dr. McCoy sees a big white rabbit walking by with wearing a suit and had a clock around its neck. And he says, "Well, that's strange." And then someone else sees a knight in shining armor, and the next thing you know, somebody gets killed, and then they go away, and then Chekhov, not Chekhov, uh, Sulu keeps seeing airplanes flying over, and they're with the machine guns going on, and because there's like you know, and then it comes to figure out that this place was an amusement park that this higher civilization had built, that they would go down there and anything they thought would be manifested into reality. But then nobody died, because as soon as like something happened, they would whisk you down into they whisk you down into the basement, into the mechanisms of the planet, and they would repair any damage that happened. And then the caretaker of the planet appeared and said, "Oh yeah, you guys can all come down here and have a great time." You just want to be. But here are the rules, and you need to know up front of what this place is all about. And so that was that planet tour that was shore leave, and I kind of sometimes think, well, I wonder if this is not what this reality is,
Hmm.
like a shore leave. But that, but then it
I
kind
don't
of,
know if I ever saw that or not. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't seem or sound familiar, but
but that it's just
I don't know.
it's conceptually you didn't watch every episode of Star Trek 50 times like I did.
No,
And,
no, no, I didn't.
you didn't have that obsessiveness where like, okay, when I was a teenager, and this all this stuff stopped about the time I was like in my mid 20s, because my brain started like settling into these sedimentary layers. It settled down to where I wasn't like this anymore. But I would be reading Star Trek novels. I would be reading because I was and I would put the novel down and I would go to sleep, and then I would dream in those characters. Those characters would be in my dreams, and I was still dreaming about Mr. Spock and Captain Kirk until I was about 24, 25 years of age. I
I
miss that.
love
I miss that I don't do that anymore. I really miss that part of being a kid. And yeah, so um anyways, that was just this thought about this, but it was this thought of that this place is a construct that is made from an advanced civilization. So maybe what we think of what God is, that God is this super advanced AI, and or some kind of an intelligence that was made. Who knows when it was made? And then what we are is we are beings of that other realm having a different kind of experience.
Hmm. Yep. Yeah, that's a good way.
Anyways, it's
That's
just
that's
it's just
that's a
it's just
fun way to see things. I can tell you that I do like to get lost in some shows. I can't tell you how many times I've seen The Neverending Story. I can
Mhm,
probably quote the TV show Blacklist,
mhm,
and the originals and Vampire Diaries. Um, I've seen Legacies more times than I should have. The original Charmed. There's a lot of TV shows that I don't understand. Big Trouble in Little China. Like, I love shows that allow me a chance to be that kid again. Like, if The
mhm,
Labyrinth was on, like, right now, I would be like, "All right, Bill, I like, as soon as this is over, I gotta go.
yeah,
Like, I've gotta catch whatever's left." Like, the kid in me, because my trauma body and mind are healing, and so much of me is healed, um, and which none of it is 100%. We get to heal more every time, right? So I don't know if I have a definite answer for like how many times we do lives, right? Because I will tell you that what I think I understood while I was on the other side, and through meditation and some of my teachings, I do believe that um, there's 13 walks in this organic meat suit that we take throughout different points and periods, right? Like,
mhm,
if you were thinking of it as a game, you would have this life plus 12 more. And how you use those lives and when you choose to use those lives, um, you have no control over, because someone else is going to choose when and how you use those lives. So
mhm,
um, I think I think that all of us do know that we're going to the same place. The only other thing we know for sure is that we're going the best way we know how. So as long as we just keep remembering that we're just human right now, we are just earth human. We are having an earth human existence and experience, and there is something to learn. Um, And for those of us that are hard headed and choose not to learn, I can tell you that that bright, shiny light is not what you think it is. It's probably the birth canal, and you're coming right back. That's the birthing room.
Hmm,
Oh,
interesting.
what do I know?
Well, yeah, yeah. Anyways, it's like, yeah, it's interesting. Well, I mean, for the most part, we don't really know, but we have all these thoughts and these things, these
Mhm.
experiences.
Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%.
I know that when I go the whole matrix thought, because it's like, well, what about ethics? What about that? Well, maybe what happens if there is no such thing as a morality? What if it that what if there isn't a right and a wrong? What if there isn't that? And so you go down these tangents that are like, they're hard things to want to really talk about and think about, because we like to think that there's a right and a wrong, that there's a morality. But if you were to, let's say, just on a different level, if a truly alien species came to visit or was here, would we understand their morality? Or would they be so alien? Maybe they wouldn't have a morality. They wouldn't be governed by the same morality, because because I often think of looking at our religions and our ways of thinking. I think that they don't exist beyond this world.
No,
Uh,
there is a
Christianity,
lot.
you know,
There is a lot that we as humans have. It's just trapped and stuffed in every piece of this meat suit that it could stuff it in. And we don't get a chance to understand it because we can't sense it or feel it or touch it the same way we can in a place that isn't this. So
Mhm.
understanding that this experience is meant to be limited, this experience is meant to help you learn something. Some people see it as a prison, some people see it as a school and you're learning, right? So this could be Hogwarts or it could be Alcatraz. It's your choice how you want to look at it, right? So
Mhm.
if that's the concept, then you play the game of life and you hope that you ultimately have something to leave behind because you know you can't take it with you, so you want something worthy to be left behind, whether it's monetary value or not. You want it to be worthy of what you and your foundation was. So the quicker you try to get to that part of your life, the more you realize you found yourself living every single day just a little bit more than you used to. So
Yeah. Well,
I
and
think it's a good way to understand it.
being my mother's caretaker, and then I was like thinking back of like with my grandmother, and as people's memories start to fail them, and thinking their brain memories or their short-term memories, and I'm thinking, well, isn't maybe that's what, when this brain filter thing starts to stop working, maybe we start to become more like what ourselves are on the other side, as being a place where the memories are confused, or maybe you're registering memories in a different way, and that you just start to become yourself. Like, I'll give you just an example. The other day, because I got, like, last Friday, I go to a food bank, a tribal food bank every Friday, and so it's like getting back here by 4 o'clock in the afternoon is a real stretch. It's I get back sometimes, you wait a while, or if I go at noon, most of the times I'm back home in like an hour. But sometimes, like today, I was like 90 minutes. It wasn't until 1:30 before I got home. But when I first started going there, I would get up really insanely early, and then you might go start waiting in line at 9 o'clock in the morning, and then you might get all the way through by 11. So and some people start waiting in line at like 8 o'clock in the morning. So I just stopped doing that. But
Mhm.
anyway, I got like a whole turkey last week, and so I processed the turkey, and then I cooked the turkey on Monday, and then then immediately after I shoved the carcass of it into a crock pot so I can make broth. Well, the next day I'm doing this, and I get all the bones and stuff thrown away except this one leg bone. Okay, well I had just tossed it in the sink because I'm kind of lazy that way sometimes. And I'm just a man, and men are oftentimes aren't very thorough when it comes to their cleaning. I know it's not just men, but okay, all
Wait,
right, but nevertheless.
but nothing. This is a no but zone. Absolutely not. No way, no how, no shape, no way. No, no. Gotta take
Okay,
that
all
back.
right,
Can't
all right,
say it.
all right. And but so I just kind of tossed it in there. Well, and then I went off and did some other things. And in the evening time, I was loading up the dishwasher, and there was a turkey leg bone in this turkey. It was like in there in the dishwasher, like it was like where the silverware was at. And I think, oh, that's funny. My mom shoved that in there. It was like to be, yeah, okay, she did. And I asked her about it the next day. She said, yeah, I thought it'd be kind of funny. And so my mom, she's 85, um and I'm getting to know my mother as she was before she had all the responsibilities of being a mother, and a working, and being and so being this other person who she was, and so that sense of humor side is, her siblings remember this, but I've
Yeah.
never seen it. So as she's allowing me um to be more of this caregiver, to have that role change thing going on, and she's relaxing into herself to who she always was, to have this sense. And so this is this and so in a sense that we have this stuff that goes on, and we maybe it's like, okay, we get kind of afraid of the fact that the memory doesn't work as well. So like today, I it was like there was like the bill pay thing. I was and the cable internet, the phone, and the cable TV are all come in on the same company, and they go and they run you get these deals, and we're supposed to be at this one rate for like a 2-year deal, and there was only a year went by, and then it went up for $50, and so I was wanted to call them, find out what the hell's going on. And so, but I've been kept on going through my days, and I'm working on my program, and because I'd rather work on my program and do stuff like that, or
Mhm.
working on the garden and do stuff like that, and I was keep on slipping and spacing the fact that I had to call these people. And so today I said, it was right before coming on, okay, I gotta, if I don't take care of this today, I'm gonna space it. And then I looked at the thing. Oh shit, the bill's due in two, on the 23rd. And so I had, getting on the phone, and I had to, taking care of all that. But that's the thing, is that my mind myself is like, I don't have a bad memory, but these things, it's slipping, and because there's these are things you don't really want to, they're unpleasant things, paying out money to this stuff. All this stuff is unpleasant to do. It's unpleasant, even though it's, I guess, what my dad called the cost of nothing,
Mhm.
and I have to pay for the cost of nothing. But nevertheless, that was just where I'm at. But where I guess I'm saying is that our memories don't work as great, and you understand 100. Yeah, my dad is telling, yeah, yeah. But that
Oh
was just
yeah.
that thing of the mind, as the brain starts to wear out, or it's relaxing, and maybe this when a person becomes elderly like that and goes into these other states, well, maybe that's just who you naturally are as a soul. That maybe
Maybe.
that's more like your more natural state, or whatnot. If you're just completely rooted in right now.
Mm. I love it. Being present is the most important part. It's a lot harder than people give it credit for. Being
Yeah.
present is not easy to stay current, stay present. So
Mhm.
that is one hell of a lesson to learn and hold on to. No matter what age you are, the
Yeah.
faster you learn to just stay present, the easier your life gets. It
Yeah.
really does.
The other
So
thing,
there's
the other-
only a few minutes left. Is there any questions either you or anyone in the chat would have? Like I said, I am no expert, but if there's any like specific questions about spirit boxes, I would happily answer them with the last few minutes that we've got here.
yeah.
Um I do have an appointment shortly after this, so yet my day is still not done. So
That's right. That's because Hershey has booked herself for 3 live streams for today. She did hers just before here, and then she's coming to mine, and then she's going to go do one more. I'm guessing that's
no, I
already it.
already did it. I did Gerald, then mine, then you, and then I've got a client, and then after my client, I've got a my summer ritual that I do every year. And I gotta get there, and I'm approaching sunset, so it's like, okay,
Oh,
I
I get
gotta
you. I get you.
make
Yeah,
it
'cause
happen.
I'm going to refilm a piece of a video that I did the other day using my because my real life tarot deck, and then I was going to get that done for today, but it's not. It's going to go out for tomorrow's video on
This
tools of
one you
fortune.
did on the America video you did, right?
This one,
America live I mean, read you did, was that the deck you used?
I did. It's a different. It's a different
I want
question.
that deck. I need that link. So please send me that link. I fell in love with that deck. I've never seen it. I didn't know it exists. I need that deck.
Well, okay, I can tell you about this deck. The little bit I can tell you about this deck is that this
Please, please, because I need to get it on my wish list. I need that deck.
it is. It was created by a person who is a magician, like a
Oh, I love it.
and the way it doesn't have any instructions on it or anything, and so it has zero instructions, and so the way I look at this is like I'm actually gonna think I'm gonna make for the time being I'm gonna make it the central deck that I read on in Tools of Fortune.
It's gonna be so good, you guys. If you have never seen
Yeah.
this
So,
deck
so
is so perfect. Oh God, if you know, you know. I need this deck. Oh my God, it's so perfect.
and especially for the can videos and and so this deck, and this is just my how I have summed it up. So you have a party. You have a party going on at your house. You got a whole bunch of people over, and one person there knows that you are a card reader, you're a diviner, and everyone else doesn't know that about you. And maybe in some of those people, you don't want them to know that about you. But this if this friend comes out and says, "Oh, Hershey, can you come out and read my blah 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 this?" But you don't feel like it. I'm at this party, and you don't feel like it. So then you pop out this deck and say, "Okay, we'll do this," and then you pull out these cards and it's like a joke deck, and so you pull this card out and so you're doing a reading on somebody and so all the point and then it's okay, so you smoked one too many cigarettes last night, buddy. Your breath just smells like a garbage can. Okay. And then you got this you got this and you really got to stop injecting that shit. That ain't doing you no good, and then maybe that would be to the preacher guy that was there. And then, but who brought that big stinking pile of garbage to my house? And so these are the types of cards you got here. And so it's like, okay, or you make it and with the one little instruction is that it is to be like a party game, And when it comes to how do you interpret these cards, your guess is as good as mine.
Mm, I love it.
And
I
and,
will
and
find a way. As soon as I find that deck and that deck finds me, I will find a way. I
yep,
did see one question in chat real quick, and somebody
yep,
asked if I had any like specific words or anything, right? So, what I can tell you is no, I don't really say any prayers, but what I do is I speak protection into the device that I'm opening because I naturally, if you look the word Ouija up, it's going to refer to a board game, and I am definitely not a Milton Bradley board game. Um,
yeah,
but I am someone that talks and works with the dead. So and some other tools, I don't need them all the time. I mainly want you guys to hear sometimes what I hear because there's kind of always some white noise running in the background somewhere, and I've always got this way they can communicate with me. So
mm,
I do. I have this little phrase that I say that is speaking protection and my will so that everything that comes in contact with my energy while my tools are open and active, they know that they cannot cross any boundaries and there is no lines that will be blurred or crossed. There will be no deals, um no exchanges of anything that would come in with the intention of doing harm or um disbelief, being dishonest, cruel, or having the wrong intentions. So if anything, I just set my commands down for my tools, and then my team go to work. And we know that we're working very safely with this, like someone does when they work with a jackhammer or
mm,
they're forging something from metal and or glass, glass blower, or someone that works with swords, or somebody that has a heavy, dangerous job. They know what they're doing with their equipment and their tools, and they're the best handled equipment operator for it. So I do believe it's a tool that needs to be with the hands of those that need to be in control of it because so many people are intimidated by it and they just let it run wild. And this isn't one of those tools that you can just open doors and let it run wild. So, yes, you need to set commands, blessings, and intentions when you open it.
so I did have a question for you about that, and I kept on wanted to ask the question about it, but I kept forgetting because my memory's slipping, I guess. I'm and but was have you ever taken that spirit box into a place that is a known haunted place?
As long as it's not sacred, absolutely, yes. I will take it to the swamps, to the parks, to the grocery stores, man-made buildings, all of that. Yeah, I take it unless it's sacred ground. I will take it like up to the border of the sacred ground, and then I will sit on the outside of the sacred ground, and I will put myself in a protection circle, and I will interact with it on the side that isn't sacred. I would never open a door on sacred ground. It's just me, it's how I work. I don't need the tool when I'm on sacred ground. I have the literally strongest connection that I could ever have. And with any tool, doesn't matter. When I step onto sacred ground, I do it just as myself. And I don't need any tools. I just need me.
I mean, would that be like going into a church or going on to
No,
a
no, 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 no. Churches don't count. Cemeteries and or graveyards, mausoleums, sacred grounds, Native American indigenous land that's sacred, made the land itself sacred. Um, there's a lot of ways to make land or a spot or a place sacred, but 9 times out of 10, it's not usually made by man,
I see. Because the church is a man-made place, but
unfortunately.
then made out of it's made out of
On the other
human.
side, it's not religion, it's a philosophy of faith, of your belief, right? So
Mhm.
on this side, I see religion as a philosophy, and I know a lot of other people are like, no, 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 no. blah blah blah. That's not what we aren't comparing apples and oranges because you're a tangerine. Um, all I'm saying is that there's no religion involved on my level whatsoever. It doesn't matter what you practice, what your faith is. You're entitled to that. Believe that as long as you have faith in a higher power is makes me want to know someone as long as they have faith, right? You don't have to have a lot of it. You just need a little bit, you know? So um just knowing that once you're out of this man made world concept that you live in, currently programmed to. Um, there's no religion, there's no politics, there's no human emotion anymore, and it's so much
Yeah.
easier.
So in tarot and oracle for the soul asks why you don't take it on sacred grounds.
Sacred grounds already have been through a lot to become that way, whether it was through negative or positive. Um, Somebody like me that whether you're a trance medium, a rescue medium, a psychic medium, all of the different specialties that we have, um we are a door ourself. We do not need um we don't need them when we have a full, genuine connection and we are blown wide open, so to speak. There's no, like I said, there's no off button for me. I keep hearing something about a mute button, but I ain't found that SOB yet. So um, there's no reason to take anything more than, for, in my opinion, more than just the vessel that I am on borrowed time with, because I can already talk, feel, and communicate with them. So when I stand on their side of the world on sacred land, I want to stand with them and not have to worry about protecting them from an unseen door that I may not see something sneak
Yeah,
in that
sacred ground,
shouldn't be there.
ground is essentially like a dimensional portal.
In a way,
So it's like it's not really not necessarily sacred, but it's just a different a different energy place that exists maybe like that and we're because yeah so maybe it's something that existed in that spot because I had a I guess we need to have this conversation more another time.
absolutely,
Because
I'm definitely
you're,
down. You know
because
me, it's my
you're ready to
personal.
go to your next thing, and I'm kind of like keeping you on, and I need to
It's okay. I will
remember.
scurry on away.
Yeah, John, welcome, welcome. You came right at the last minute here, and want to thank everybody for being here because I was like thinking of like a time when I was up in the mountains, and it was like after my Israel experience, and I was with this girl that I hadn't met, and we were up in the mountains, and we were like fooling around in the car, and we felt like there was like this hand that came into the vehicle, and then it was like there was these spirits that I could feel these spirits all around. I'm thinking,
Mm,
is this a burial ground?
yes.
Was it this was like right in it was not I haven't really been up that way since then. That was like almost 30 years ago, and it was just like um so we were then I was just driving down the mountain, like a bat out of hell, and I was like, oh, what kind of I was like saying the rosary while I was like driving down the road, and and then go away, spirits, go away. It's just like, it's just kind of felt like something coming right across your throat like that. And then, yeah, that was kind of freaky. But maybe they weren't didn't mean any harm. But maybe there's like, well, what is this? Why are these people like effing around in my spot here? What we can't partake in that effing around stuff and these
Oh,
people are just here
sorry
effing
about
around
that.
and you know
Yeah.
I don't know that was kind of what I was kind of thinking in that
Yeah,
moment.
ghosts can't hurt you. I know there is this
I
huge
know
misconception, and TV is what it is, and this person thinks this, and that person knows this, and they go to jump scares, and they go to Fright Fest, and they know everything. Right, wrong, wrong answer. Ghosts and spirits cannot physically hurt us. They're not trying to. They don't want to. They just want to interact. That's it. That's all. They want to celebrate. They want to remember. They
Mm,
want to see you smile. They don't even want to see you cry or be grieving or be in pain. Believe it or not, it's literally just like instantly for them, where it's grief is ugly for us, right? They don't want that over
mm,
there. They don't. If something is trying to hurt you, it is not a ghost or a spirit. It is, I promise, something else. It is not that. So
well,
just know that for those that are scared of things that they cannot see, feel, touch, or
mm,
embrace anymore, they can do it still on the other side once they figure it out, and once they do, you'll know it too, but it is not meant to hurt you in any way, and when they do move something, trust me, they've been trying for days, months, weeks, years to move that. It just happened to be perfect timing to where you saw it and the universe allowed it. So, yeah, you freaked out, but guess what? They did too. So,
yeah,
encourage them
mm,
to be more interactive. Play the clap
mm,
game with them. Tell them to play knock and hide. They love interaction. And the more you learn to get comfortable with them, you'll also get comfortable with your own insecurities of the unknown, the unseen, and basically what you can't see, but you know is there.
huh. Like I guess the thought just occurred to me that I never thought about before. So what if that spirit was like a bear or something like that, or some other?
Animals, no. No, 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 no. If you run across an animal, it's because it probably just died or it's there to teach you something. It's come as an animal spirit to you. Animals and innocent go immediately. They don't
Mm,
there's nothing but peace for them. Animals and the innocent, there's nothing but peace for them. There's no purgatory. There's no afterlife penance. There's no long waiting lines in the limbo yard. There's no running from ghost riders or finally figuring out that a ferryman, a reaper, a rider, they're all good guys and they're all ghosts and they're all actually angels. Holy crap, that's a lot to learn when you
mm,
just get over there, because your whole life you think that reapers and riders and ferrymen are these bad things or these scary things, but yet as soon as you get over there you realize they are the one thing that is trying desperately to keep you from the things that
mm,
aren't there with good intention, and they
wow,
never were. They weren't created with good intention. So you learn quickly what can and what will hurt you versus what cannot and does not want to. So
mm,
yeah, there's a big learning curve there, and understanding what once had a soul is still good and doesn't want, they still got that attachment to where it's kind of do no harm. But something that could have been or should have been and is created wasn't created with a soul. It didn't have the source light inside of it ever. So therefore it was full of negative to begin with. So it is full of maliciousness and
mm.
full of negative forces. But there has to be the balance of good in both. So, like I said, there's layers and levels to this shit. It is not easy and it can't be explained in a few minutes. So there is a balance to it though.
Well, I I feel really blessed that I had you on again to talk
You're
about this.
welcome. I love when you invite me. You know I will be here every time I can.
And you know, as my goals have been to maybe having a show that might be kind of more like the Art Bell show because I love the Art Bell show. And so maybe as I go on, I might expand the types of things that happen. Like tomorrow morning, I have a paint off, and
I know, I'm excited. I can't wait to see it.
I want to have other. I want to have try to have a paint off like twice a month if possible,
That's
and
gonna be wonderful.
something like that, and so that's just like on a side to do that because I could easily, and then I want tarot. Okay, I have tarot and oracle for the soul on, and she's going to be coming on July, the first Tuesday in July. I think that's
Mhm.
what it is. And then I have I have some other people on, and then I have. So you started listening to old Art Bell, yeah. So Art Bell is like, so anyway, to do the whole talk radio kind of thing, and but not really, not, it's kind of like that. But 'cause I seen some dude. I've seen a couple times people going cruising through the vertical live streams and seeing people doing call in talk shows. I don't know if I'm gonna do something. I don't know if I want to do that, but nevertheless,
Food for thought, at least.
I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm trying to realize, manifest this stuff here. Anyways, that's enough of that, and I want to let Hershey go so she can get on with her evening rituals, and I can get on with making dinner for my mom and the little doggy, and then someday we'll have Care Bear back on and have all anyone else who wants to come back on, and
Mm.
Tapestry of the Unseen. I like to have her come back on again, and I have Lexi on Sunday in my after church chat. So we're going to be talking more about caregiving and stuff like that, and just different topics, and yeah, different stuff.
Absolutely. Alrighty. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm grateful and I enjoy sharing this space with you. And I will always come every time you send an invite. I will be here.
All right. Well, you'll be back on soon. Yeah. So Tarot and Oracle for the Soul, July 1st, and around, yeah. So around, she's in Mountain Time, I believe, and I'm in Pacific Time. So yeah, and yeah, we had a fun time today. We talked about a bunch of stuff. We'll
Absolutely.
hopefully we'll come
Absolutely.
back on again, and we'll talk about a bunch of stuff again.
Absolutely.
And yeah, and hopefully by that time, my Tools of Fortune channel, I'll be able to live stream on this device in this format. And part of the
Yeah.
thing that I'm working on and trying to figure out is if when that desktop computer comes, and I have to clean up this space because this space hasn't been, so that's like a goal I have to do. I have to literally declutter this area and declutter my life, and I've been in the spirits have been nagging me for years to do this.
Mhm.
But nevertheless,
Well, it's
and I
time.
have a lot of stuff to figure out, or maybe it's just my own, like, whatever, and my aunt in the back of my head who uh who who's more organized, and pretty much said the last time she was here that I need to be more attentive to the details of the house. And anyways, I all right. All right. Thank you guys. Thank everybody for pushing the like button. 20 people pushed the like button, and this has been a glorious start of my, like, almost my work week. It's like on
Absolutely.
Friday,
Absolutely.
Saturday, Sunday, then I'll go do some other things and still
Absolutely.
try to take one
Thank you,
one day off
James.
a week, not to think
Yeah.
about YouTube. But anyways,
Absolutely.
thank
Thank
you
you
very
so
much,
much,
everybody.
James, for everything.
All right, bye bye, bye, and we'll see all y'all soon.
Mm.
Bye.